Let's take a look at the Maid Service 2 template. Before you watch this video, make sure you've watched these other videos. Creating your quote center, customizing your quote center, installing your quote center, and using the questions tab. Now let's look at the template. We're going to find it under the My Account tab in the admin panel. I'm going to load it under this slot by clicking Reload. Let's call it Maid Service Reg for regular. The name is only going to show up to you. Your site visitors aren't going to see it. The title, however, will show up in some messages in the quote and emails. Now let's find our template. Here we are, Maid Service 2. Now we've loaded our template. You can change the name and the title anytime here. Let's set our required information. I'm going to make everything required except for the other phone. You can feel free to make these however you want. You could leave them all on not required if you wish, allowing somebody to get an anonymous quote, or you could just get the name but not make them put their address or what have you. Set your cross-site marketing for any additional quote centers that you have. An example would be if they're getting a maid service quote and you also want to give them a carpet cleaning quote, then you would have your carpet cleaning quote center would be listed here, and just put in the URL on your website where your quote center is, and that will allow them to directly link to that quote center upon getting a quote for maid service. And you can set them vice versa. And you can also do multiple. So if you've got 4 different quote centers for various services, you can set all of them or whichever ones you want to be on cross-site marketing. Generally, you'll leave these on no. And here's your snippet. And we're going to click Save. You simply install this snippet on the page or pages that you want your quote center to show up on. Okay. One quick thing before we move on to the quote center. You can set your how here questions. This is a general list of them. On the quote center itself, under the options tab, you need to make sure that you have all the items you want on that quote center. There will be 2 boxes. You want to drag them over into the display box. For the sites, for reporting this, you can give if you have various sites or pages or URLs really that your quote center shows up on, you can give it a nickname. So you could have main site, other blank site, other blank site. And that way, instead of seeing a long URL in your reports, you'll see the name of the quote center. And the description is okay. Now let's start over here with the Services tab in the My Quote Center Control panel. Make sure you've got it set on the quote center which you want to edit. Now this is a list of service items that come built into the template. You can add more service items, and you can also, just for organizational purposes, you can drag and drop, change the order of these. It's particularly useful if you've got a long list of services and you're just trying to organize them. The duration is not so important right now. That's there for some future functionality that's coming, where the system will calculate the estimated duration of the service for your eyes only, not for the customer's eyes. But you can take a guess on any service and put it in there, but it's not going to do anything at this moment. Okay, so the questions tab, this is where most of your controls are going to happen. We'll start at the top here. This particular template starts with the house size, and it uses that for what you would call a base price. You can change these if you want to, but basically if you look at each of these services, which if you go back to this list here, this is a static list of your services. When you open up any question, it's going to show you the same list, and anything with an asterisk on it is something that has some pricing built in on this question. So think of it this way, for a house that is 1,001 to 1,500 square feet, which this is just editable here if you wanted to make these options a little different or add more of them or less of them, you have that kind of control. But for a house that's 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, then on a monthly service, your base price would be $100, which obviously you just change that to whatever you want it to be. But this is the sample price that's in there. So just set your monthly cost. So just set your monthly prices for these house sizes. And this one is a separate base price list. This is for your vacant cleanings. This is for your weekly cleanings. This is your bi-weekly, and so on and so forth. Now again, if you don't have a vacant cleaning, or you have a different name for that, or you want it to be you don't want to have a deep cleaning and a general cleaning, or you don't want to have both a deep cleaning and a vacant cleaning, or maybe you're missing something and you need 3 more things here. Whatever it is, you can add those services so they'll show up in your list here. And then they'll show up in here, and then just click on it, whatever it is. Let's try it actually. Let's say that you also need in your business, let's say you have one you call move in, move out. Maybe this would replace your vacant cleaning, or maybe you do move in and maybe you do one that's move out. Maybe you price differently, but however it is, you can set it up that way. But let's say that's what we want to do here. And so what we need to do is we're going to go back into size of the house, a square footage question. And now there's going to be a service in here called move in, move out. It's going to start out blank. And let's just say for a move in, move out on 1,000 square feet, let's say we're going to start that at 150. And let's say for every increment we're going up here, and you do what is appropriate for your business and your market, but let's say we're going to go up $28 for each size. And then we're going to do that. There's about 15 of these here, 12, 13 of them. So we're going to just put a number that's higher than that. And we're going to go in the downward direction. So we're starting here and we're going down. And there we go. So that's base price for a move in, move out. As soon as I hit OK, so now we've created a base price for a move in, move out cleaning at each of these house sizes. And let's say we want to make this the upper limit for this question. Let's go back in there real quick. So we have a list of prices for a monthly, a vacant cleaning, a weekly, a bi-weekly, a deep cleaning, a general cleaning, and a move in, move out. Next we have some more questions about the home. How many bedrooms are there? And currently in the template, the number of bedrooms is not going to affect the price. But let's say you want it to. Let's say on a monthly, on any one of your base prices, let's say that not only do you have a static price for X square feet, but you also increase the price for each bedroom above 5. So let's just do that on the monthly. So let's say for 1 bedroom, you don't add anything. 2 bedrooms, you don't add anything. 4 bedrooms, nothing. 5 bedrooms is acceptable, but 6 bedrooms, now you're adding $10. And 7, you're adding 20. And 8, you're adding 30, and so on. And let's say if they've got 10 or more bedrooms, let's say that you want to talk to them before you give them the quote, or you want to visit the house before you want to give them the quote. So let's set that as our upper limit. And you can do it separately for each. So if a vacant cleaning isn't 10, 20, 30, maybe that's 15, 30, 45. And or maybe it's less, or whatever it is. And you can go through and set these to what you want them to be. Let's say for bathrooms, you do the same thing. You can certainly do that. As of right now, this template doesn't show any sample pricing, but you can set it to whatever you want. Same with number of people in the house. If you want to increase the price starting at 6 people, or maybe you want to increase it starting at 2 people, and you want to add, for a bi-weekly service, you want to add $5 for each additional person that lives in the house. You could set it up there. The how many pets in your home, this is going to go through, and on each service it does have some built-in sample pricing, and you can go through and change it to how you want. But you can see that like on a monthly service, as soon as they get to 2 pets it adds $5, and as soon as they get to 4 pets it adds $10. Bi-weekly, it basically works the same way, and those probably should match or be closer to that, but you just set them to whatever you want. And so your weekly is basically matching the monthly, so the bi-weekly should probably match the monthly also. But let's say you wanted to do the pets differently. Let's say for each pet you wanted to increase the total price by 5%. If you were wanting to do that, then let's do it on the monthly here. Then what you would do is you would switch this to a multiplier. And we're going to change this to 1.05 to increase by 5%. And we're going to change this to a multiplier. And we can change them all to a multiplier and then go through and set these factors the way we want. Just be careful that you don't want this null, this empty box, you don't want that set to a multiplier. Because if they click no pets, and many people will, then that will multiply by 0. And that's going to affect your price by a lot because it's going to make it 0. So, but now we've got it just the way we want. We just need to go through and either go down and manually set these, or you can just click the value range options. And we were at 1.1. We're going to go up by 0.05 each time. We need to go, what, about 6 or 7 more, and see, it'll do that for us. Now instead of adding a certain number to our price, we are increasing the price by 5%. And you can, maybe 5% is a lot. Maybe you only want to go by 2%. So this would be 0.4. So you can see how you would set these to your pricing. And you would do that whether it be the same or if the pricing changes between a monthly and a bi-weekly, but whatever it is, set them on each of your services here. So there's a few additional services built into this template. Blind cleaning. This one is on a separate service that we call blinds. And this is going to add $90 to the price if they want hand wiped, if they want their blinds cleaned. Now you could do this differently. You could do it by house size. And what you could do is you could say, for whatever size the house is, small or big, this is going to affect the price. You could either set this to entire quote, so it's going to take the whole quote amount, whatever it ends up being. And let's say if they want to add wiping the blinds cleaned, we want to add 25% to the price. So if the price came out to $100, you're adding $25 to add blind cleaning to their service. If it was a $200 service, then you're adding $50. Or what you could do is, instead of having this on the blinds service, or you could have it on both, but you could do it individually on each of these base prices. So on the monthly, you could increase the monthly amount by 1.25, or you could add a certain amount like $90. But let's go ahead and stick to the way the template had it. So I'm going to empty this here and come back here, and we're going to change this back to an adder, and we're going to add $90. Baseboard cleaning works the same way. This is going to be on its own, and it's going to add $50 if they want their baseboards cleaned. And the inside of the oven works the same way. That's inside oven here. That adds $45 if they want it. And the inside of the fridge has its own service, and that adds $45. You can set these numbers to whatever you want. If you're missing questions, or you want to, particularly if you want to add a question that is only applicable in certain situations, let's say you want to know more information about their blinds. So if they do want blind cleaning, let's say you want a follow-up question, and we're going to make this a conditional question. So if they want blind cleaning, let's say we want to know, what kind of blinds do you have? This is just an example. You can do this any way you want, but there we go. As soon as we save this question, it's going to create the question. From there, we can upload an image. You just want to make it a square, like a JPEG. And this probably isn't the most appropriate image, but we'll use it just for a demonstration. Now let's put this up here and just basically make it strike through the question. Then we're going to tell it what triggers this question, and then click move, and that's going to create this a conditional question. Now if you open this up, you'll see it. This question is going to be asked if, and this looks a little, what you like, would you like your blind cleaning services? If they click hand wiped please, then it's going to trigger this question. And then let's say you have different pricing for wood, aluminum, or cellular. You put them in here under your blinds service. And let's say you also want to know how many blinds they have. It's a fair question. And then let's make a range here. We're going to start with 1, and we're going to go to 20, and we're going to go an increment of 1. And then let's add on this 20. We're going to say 20 or more. That's going to create the question. Let's open it back up. Let's make this an upper limit. So let's say if they say they have more than 20, maybe 20 is not enough. Maybe you need to go all the way to 50. I don't know. But let's say wherever you, as far as you want it to go, you set it to that point, and you might want to make that an upper limit and phrase it like this. And as soon as they hit that upper limit, you're saying you're not going to give them a quote for that until you talk to them about it first. And then come in here and set your pricing. You can use this. Let's say for each blind you're going to add $3, and you're going to go up by 3. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe for each blind you're going to add $4, and then you're going to go up by 4, and we need to go 20, and there you go. Upload an image. And then we want to make this also a conditional question of this answer here. So now they're going to go through, and you'll see it when we do a quick test. They're going to go through and answer all of these when they get to this one. If they don't want blind cleaning service, then they won't see this question or this question. But if they do want blind cleaning service, then they'll be asked this follow-up question and this follow-up question, and then it'll move on. And that's how you set your questions the way you want. Also, if you want the order to be different, maybe you want the bathrooms to be asked before bedrooms, whatever it is, just drag it and drop it right between. If you watch this little arrow here, if you could put it kind of between, where it still strikes through the image some, but it's towards the top. Whereas if you wanted to make it a conditional, you put it right down the middle. So you can see the difference there. And you can always, if you take it to the wrong spot, you can just drag it and drop it again until you get it where you want. So, and that's how the questions tab on this template is set up. Reword these questions any way you want. Reword, you know, if you don't like the way these are worded, or there's terminology you don't like, you just change it. Change any images you want. Just click on the image and load the new image. Let's move on to the packages. Now this template comes with these packages built in. You can rearrange these in any way you want to, but if you don't like the names of them, you can change them. Just click on the package, click edit, change the name of the package. Real quick, you can also set a minimum or a maximum for a package. You can also set a range. So if you want your, let's say the price for the package is gonna come out to $150, but instead of showing $150 even, let's say you want it to say 125 to 175. Then you would put minus 25, and then here you would put 25. Actually, we want to put 25 here. and then you can test it out. But so if this landed on 150, then it wouldn't show 150, it would show 125 to 175. It would show that in a range. You can also do it as a percent, so it'll calculate 25% less and then it'll calculate 25% more. Or you could leave one of these blank. So if it came out to 150, then it would say 150 to 175 and it would show that in a range. And that's how that works. You can also toggle through these. Okay, so first let's take a look at a quick preview. Now, this isn't really how they end up looking on a quote, but it kind of gives you an idea how they stack up and the order that they're showing up in: general, deep, vacant, monthly, biweekly, weekly. So if you wanted this to be in a different order, if you wanted monthly, biweekly, weekly, or weekly, biweekly, monthly, and then the general, deep, and vacant to be down here, then here you would just change the order. So general cleaning, you would, let's say you want to move that after monthly, and that's going to change the order. So you just play with that until you move these to where you want them. Now, general cleaning, it's going to show up here, and it's going to include, see, these are visual items, these ones. So these ones aren't tied to a service item. So they show up in the quote, but the price is actually going to be built into these first ones here. These are like your base prices. So you can see, well, since I changed the order, let me move it back so you can see that a little better. We're going to move general cleaning to first. Okay, now you can see as you work your way down, so the general cleaning has the general cleaning price included. The deep cleaning package has the deep cleaning service and price associated with that service included. However, it doesn't show it, but that's where the base price is coming from. Next, you can see that deep cleaning has different items in it than a vacant cleaning or a general cleaning. And a monthly cleaning and a biweekly and a weekly, those have the same service items here. If you don't like the way these are termed, you can just type and save. So if clean outside of cabinets should be clean cabinet fronts, you just change it to that and then save it. On a general cleaning, a deep cleaning, a vacant cleaning, and since we added that move in, move out, we could add a package and call it move in, move out, and put the things we need in, move out in there, but and then save it. But on the general, deep, and vacant cleaning, you can see it has these services down here: baseboards, blind cleaning, inside oven, and inside fridge. And these are all set to hide if 0. Now what that means is that if they indicated that they don't want baseboards, don't want blind cleaning, don't want oven cleaning, don't want fridge cleaning, those wouldn't show up. But if they said they do want blinds, but they don't want oven, but they do want fridge, those will be hidden from the package. So let's try out this quote center. You can see what it looks like. I'm just going to put some test info in here. Okay. So here's what your quote looks like as default. You can see right here, Maid Service, that's where that name of your quote center came in. And this is all editable. I'll show you that in just 1 minute. And of course you put your manager picture and your logo, and this would be your actual customer info. And then in here they get their different options. So you can see the blinds is an option, and oven and fridge. But we said we didn't want baseboard cleaning, so that's why it doesn't show up in here. You could modify the quote center a little bit so that, and change the way that it's structured a little bit so that you do have a package that's got all that in there even though they said they didn't want it. Or you could change the questions so you don't actually ask if they want it or not, and you do that in the package, where one package has it, one package doesn't. You can go 100 different ways with that, but this is going to show the options that they chose. Here's some built-in boilerplate terms. You can change these. These are basically telling them that while this quote is good and you'll honor it, it depends entirely on the actual job. So if you get there and there's actually a 4,000 square foot house where they said it was 1,000 square feet, then that will affect the price. Is essentially what it says. It also says you're going to call them back to schedule the service, and it also says you guarantee your work. But you can change all of these. So let's go ahead, go back and look at a couple of other things. On the fine print page here, this is where you control your upper limit message. This tells them if they hit any of your upper limit parameters, this, instead of them seeing that quote that you just saw, this is going to tell them that you want to visit the house or the job and look at it before you give them a quote. Now you could change this so it's a little more general so that you don't necessarily have to visit the house, but you just want to at least talk to them and get a little bit of clarification. But they're going to see whatever message you have in here when they move on to try to get their quote. They're not going to see the quote. And that allows you to control certain parameters where you don't want them to get an instant quote without you talking to them first. That could be the house is too big, that could be they have too many blinds, that could be anything you want it to be. Let's look over here at the options tab just real quick. This is where I mentioned you want to make sure that all of your items are in here. If there's something that you added that's not in there, make sure it's in here on your quote center level. It's also going to show you your snippet again. You can change the color and the width of your quote center here, or you can switch to a different layout. This one doesn't have any color options, but it matches the quote that you saw already. So let's save that, and then you'd see this is what it looked like instead. And that is the Maid Service 2 template. And we want to thank you for using the Maid Service 2 template, and get creative with it and change it to fit your company and fit your needs. And as always, let us know if you need any help.